of love the shadows purr, my children. The second year of the Longbox premiered with the classic tale of love and revenge, The Crow. Since then, we have looked at several sequels with their own undead protagonists over the years. But now, let's go back to Eric Draven with another take on the original story. In 1999, Image Comics printed Todd McFarlane Presents The Crow. Todd McFarlane did not write or draw this story, go figure. 10 issues were produced that retold the original story and went beyond. We're looking at the first 4 issues, collected in the trade The Crow Midnight Legends Volume 5, Resurrection. Well, as another horror aficionado who hangs out in his basement is known to say, it's just after midnight somewhere. Detective Albrecht and his partner storm into an apartment and find the dead Shelley Webster, along with her fiancé Eric Draven. Well, to be accurate, Eric is not so much in the apartment, so much on the ground outside of it, having been flung from the window. A year later, their young friend Sarah puts roses on their graves, narrating about how happy she was that the two would be getting married soon. Yet Eric's grave is now very empty. The killers are soon visited by the bird as well, as we learn about them. Skank is a pervert and child molester. Tintin is so skilled with his knives that he can balance 5 on his hand, 1 for each finger. T-Bird is a guy with guns. And also there's Funboy. But of course, in the eyes of the Crow, there is one thing they all have in common. They're all dead men. Eric awakens and remembers it all, and knows now, thanks to the Crow, that he has a mission, that there will be pain. But he chooses it. He will see their blood flow like rivers joining, walk through this world of men who die. First up is the pawn shop owner, Gideon, to retrieve his wedding ring. Though he makes sure to take Gideon's ear as well. And puts a knife through his head when he tries to pull a shotgun and then burns down his store. Eric is a little angrier in this version of events. Tintin is next, found by Eric over the dead body of a man he just murdered. Eric knew the man well, but he's not the reason he's there, of course. Tintin sends a knife at him, and Eric catches it in his hand. Pretty good trick. And then he has Tintin catch an apple with his mouth. Oh, and I guess his pockets were filled with apples because he intercepts like 3 more knives with them. We don't see it happen, but Eric proceeds to shove those knives through T-Bird's body, from the back exiting out the front. T-Bird is dealt with next, Eric admitting that considering the wreck he sends to hell, the devil is underpaid. Bah, he's in it for the laughs anyway! Eric uses a car to decapitate T-Bird, and then sends his headless body into the club of Top Dollar, the man in charge of the gang. Eric and Sarah reunite, the former expressing his hope that if all the killers are dead, then perhaps she will wake up as well. He has been driven from the earth by death, and he is so far from heaven. While Skank gets a visit from Detective Albrecht, as well as T-Bird's head, Funboy sleeps with Sarah's mother, Darla. The two are high when Eric shows up. He tells Sarah and Darla to leave the room while he plays with Funboy. Funboy puts the gun up to Eric's head and shoots, and then Eric turns it around and does the same to Funboy's head. Now that's fun! Albrecht soon realizes that Eric is undead, while Eric himself can only think of reuniting with Shelley, not even listening to the Crow when it attempts to talk to him. We also learn that in this version of the story, the attack on Shelley and Eric was an accident, the gang going to the same apartment building as them to attack someone else, but the number on their door got shifted and they went in and killed them instead. Skank, meanwhile, has been put into protective custody after all the other members of the gang were killed. Still, he screams for a gun, a weapon of some kind, and a voice from outside his cell tosses him one. Then he tosses him a knife. Then he tosses him a grenade, with the pin pulled. Albrecht goes to arrest Top Dollar, possibly just for the sake of protecting him. They want justice after all, not vigilantism. However, Eric arrives and interrupts the proceedings. Albrecht's partner is killed, but so is Top Dollar, the final piece of the puzzle in his revenge. However, there are 2 things of note. One of Top Dollar's bodyguards, a Native American named Walker, recognizes what Eric is and leaves before the big firefight. And Ulbrecht tells Eric that his quest was pointless. They were closing in on not only Top Dollar, but a larger operation responsible for all these deaths, his included. And his quest for vengeance isn't any good. It's only moving him farther away from Shelley. And it seems he may have a point, for Eric does not return to the grave afterwards, but for so many more comic issues. The final one collected here is not that important. Sarah learns that her grandmother, despite what Darla had told her, is actually alive, though she seems to not entirely be there, thinking Eric is a priest. He tries to save her from a man trying to steal money from her, but sadly fails to hurt all the bullets that he puts himself in front of her to block. Still, Eric makes sure that his own version of justice is served, hanging his body outside the apartment building with a note, informing Albrecht he was too late. This version of Eric's story is a bit wordier and more full of poetry and philosophizing than the original was. But it's still so satisfying to see Eric once again take his undead vengeance. And we'll probably visit him again for the rest of this series.